Hello. This is Denise Belil, and I'm here with you to the It's All Good. Look who's here for a chat show. I'm so excited to be here and for another show. Today is episode, I should know that, 17. So we've been doing this show for 17 weeks, and I'm really happy that people show up and comment and share with us what they feel about the presentation and the show. The reason why I do this, and first of all, why I call it It's All Good, it's because I know it's backward, but it's all good. It's my favorite cup. And I drink lots of water. So that's water. See, I don't know if you can see. Oh, there's still a little bit in there. So that's water. And I feel that it keeps me hydrated. I like to drink quite a bit of water, and that's a good suggestion I can give you is to have water readily available beside you so you stay hydrated all day long. And so one more thing also is that show I created it so that we can exchange. I have guests pretty much every time, and today there's no exception. And my guest today is Permelia Parham. And when I met this lady, that was quite a while ago. We were on a networking event. And I don't know if you ever been to a virtual networking event, but then sometimes you're being put in little rooms and then you introduce yourself with the people that are there. But at that time, for some reason, we didn't really connect. And then later on, we ended up again connecting on LinkedIn. And then we did a conversation, like a really good 1 hour conversation. And I was so excited to get to know her and get to understand a little bit what she does. And that's what she's going to talk to us today. And I've been aware of that modality and I've experienced it myself. And I feel that it's very powerful. So let me tell you, the topic today is body code healing modality. So who doesn't want to heal from their ailment or their brain or their thought pattern? This healing modality works to keep us healthy in every way, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Permela is a teacher and practitioner of emotional healing. She has studied and taught this modality, excuse me, for over 20 years. Permelia is a certified body coach and emotional coach practitioner offering emotional healing session to release unprocessed negative emotion. As well, she offers individual consultation on realigning belief, past lifetime healing, chakra balancing, and teaches strategy on how to expand self-awareness and be empowered to make positive life changes. Who doesn't want positive life changes? Count me in. It's always something to improve. Even if life is all good, there's always something we can improve. So Permelia is in a process of creating a virtual global healing company, the Healing Institute Incorporated, an international wellness corporation. Wow. I think you're going to have a lot of great information from our call today. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome Permelia to the stage. Here she is. Hello, Permelia. How are you?
Hello, Denise, and thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Yes, absolutely.
You're
So
very
much fun.
welcome. So is there something you'd like to add to that amazing introduction?
I don't think there is anything I could add. Absolutely. That is pretty much what I do. And when I say that I've been involved in this process for over 20 years, I just want people to know I was learning it just for myself at first, just to
Mm-hmm.
better myself, and didn't ever believe at the time, over 20 years ago, that I'd be doing it as a business. But the woman I studied under for 8 years, she had the prediction when I moved back to Vancouver Island that I would be doing this. So,
Oh, wonderful.
and I
So
love
what
what I
led
do.
you to become a healing practitioner? Like what's your path to getting there and helping others with
Well,
their
I think your path is first just to be looking at what you need
Yeah.
personally to grow. And that's basically how I started. And then it just sort of became something. It's all part of who I am. I look on life very, very positively.
Yeah.
And so I was working in a resort here on Vancouver Island, and my coworkers one night just was asking me how come I was so calm about a few things that had happened that night. And so I explained to them that I do a grounding exercise. I have chakra balanced. My chakras are balanced, and they were like, "Oh, we need to know how to do this."
Yeah. It's like, oh, how can I do that? You know?
So literally, I started teaching my coworkers out of my home,
Oh, cool, cool.
and with my teacher when I lived up in Alberta, that made sure I had her blessing, and that
Hmm.
she knew her predictions were coming true, and then it just evolved into that. I've always believed in energy, positive
Mm,
vibration. So that's why
yeah.
I called my company Vibrational Healing.
Yes.
And then learned about the body code, actually the emotion code first, 5 years ago, and it just fit in with everything that I had been learning around vibration, positiveness, and how to keep ourselves healthy.
Wow, that's super cool. And you mentioned the emotional code. I,
Yes.
I've
Hey, that's
had, I've read
book
that
number
book.
one. This is book
Yeah,
number
book number
two.
2. And I've had that book. Let me think how long I've had it. And I read it. Like I went through all of it, and I was, I really enjoyed it. I felt that it was such a good way to look at ourselves and our decision making in a totally different ways. How
And
to,
we have to give the shout out to Dr. Bradley Nelson, because he's the
yes, he's
one who
definitely
created the protocol and also wrote that book. I believe he wrote that book in 2007. And this latest book is about 2 years old now. Oh, yeah,
okay.
2 years old. So the difference between the books, he updated the second edition that he did
Yes.
because practitioners were also able to give him ideas of some of the case studies that and about their clients. So his first book is pretty much all his own clients and
Mm-hmm.
how the process works.
Yeah.
But the second book got a little bit bigger because the practitioners were able to submit some fabulous testimonials from their clients.
Yeah,
Yes.
and also I imagine at that time also as people were reading it just like you did and saying, "Hey, I'd like to do that too. I'd like to teach that too." And I imagine then he started to create his Teach the Teacher, I guess, program and
Well, in both his books, he does teach you so
hmm.
people can do the body code and the emotion code themselves,
Yeah,
on themselves.
yeah,
So it's
I've done that.
for those people who are watching and don't quite know what we're talking about. It's balls of negative energy that could be stuck in your subconscious. So we don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Brad calls them trapped emotions. So they're
Mm-hmm.
emotions that are in our subconscious that we might be aware of, or we could be experiencing some kinds of behaviors and we have no idea where this is coming from.
Uh-huh.
So it's the process that he created is releasing these unprocessed negative or trapped emotions out of the subconscious, because when they can play havoc with different organs, and your muscles are going to tell you which organs are involved. So it's looking at the next level after the emotion code. Getting certified in that is the body code, and that's looking at everything in the body, which is just absolutely amazing. All the systems, the digestive system, the nervous system.
Do you have
So
example of people you work with that were able to eliminate like ailment or pain, or for example somebody that has a sore hip and then they do the process with you and all of a sudden the hip doesn't hurt? Do you have any
I
testimonial like
do.
that?
Yes, I do. I have a client who I've worked with him on and off for over probably 2 years now. And so about 6 months ago, he said, I've got this pain in my shoulders and my neck, and I can't seem to release it. gone to the chiropractor, gone to massage. So interestingly enough, this particular client also is a certified body code practitioner.
Okay.
However, sometimes when we work on ourselves, we have more success when somebody else works on us.
Yeah, yeah.
That's also been my own personal experience. And so I
It's
was,
almost like the story of the shoemaker that has shoes with holes in it.
yes.
You got to send your
So,
shoe somewhere else to get fixed. So it's the same thing with any modality, right?
yeah. So I was finding these trapped emotions that now he's in his 70s, and these trapped emotions, I think they were around when he was 40, 50. There was a job, he lost a job. And so what's so amazing about this modality is, though he had reconciled with the fact that, consciously, that, he'd lost this job, he got another job, but at the time it was very traumatic.
Yeah.
And he was the breadwinner for his family, and so there was a lot of emotion that was going on.
Yeah,
And
of course.
so when I was finding these trapped emotions at this particular time, because that's another thing you can ask when we're asking the subconscious, well, how old were you when you got this trapped emotion? And then if it aligns with an event that happened, it's very interesting, right? So he said, wow, I didn't, his body was still holding on to that energy and those emotions, even though consciously he had got over it, if you want to use those words, but subconsciously those emotions were still stuck in his subconscious. So we released them, and voila, no more pain in the neck and the shoulders.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So why is the body code, emotional code, so important in as a healing modality?
Well, when I first discovered that we were looking at emotions that hadn't been released, that made perfect sense to me. So these emotions can be in your heart. There's different types of trapped emotions. There's ones that you could have inherited from your mother's side of the family, your father's side of the family. There's one called prenatal, which means something was going on with your mother when she was pregnant with you, but you got the trapped emotion. You'd never know that,
something like that. Where there's a trauma when the woman is pregnant, and then the child carry on that.
Yes, exactly.
Stress.
So absorbed, you can absorb other people's trapped emotions. The heart wall is a big one. It's a wall that the subconscious actually puts up around the heart, mainly to protect it. But if these emotions get trapped in that heart wall, then you'll have issues with all different kinds of relationships, and also success in life. So it's very important to release these trapped emotions, find out what they are and release them. And I have a chart that Dr. Bradley Nelson came up with, as well as creating the protocol. He created this chart of 60 different trapped emotions. So that's the chart practitioners use. We use that chart to determine
there's different ones.
Which emotions are trapped and how they need to be released. And I just think it's so important for us to be aware of what we can do in a healing, holistic way to be well and stay well. And the body code and the emotion code is just one of the perfect modalities for that.
So tell me, you've been saying that, and for those that are joining us right now, there's a few people watching. Thank you. And I'm here with Permelia, and she's a certified body code and emotional code practitioner. And now I'm just about to ask her, how do you test? How do you know? Like you said, you ask the body, like you say, hey, arms, like, why are you hurting? I'm sure that's not the way it is. So how does it work? Does this modality work?
Well, the 3 parts to the modality that Dr. Bradley Nelson created work as a practitioner. I'm working with a client. We do it very individually, one-on-one. I can do it over Zoom. I can do it over the phone, because the client gives me permission to connect with their subconscious. So I'm like their proxy. It's like I'm doing the vote for them. So we connect, we ask that permission. and the subconscious knows everything. Our
Okay.
subconscious is connected, source energy, universal energy, God, whatever you believe in. Our subconscious is, one of my colleagues calls it the smarty pants. It knows it all. It's got all of our emotions,
Well,
all of our memories,
mhm.
everything. And it's connected to universal energy. And
Okay.
that's what is so important about the why this modality, I believe, works so well.
Uh-huh.
The next piece is to determine which trapped emotion we have
Okay.
or there is in the subconscious. I ask the client subconscious, okay, what is going on here? And in my body code program, which I have as an app on my tablet, so I muscle test. So right now I use my
So how
fingers.
does that work for those that never heard about muscle testing? So how
Muscle
does that work?
testing. Okay, well, again, our muscles are true to who we are.
You want to test me on muscle testing?
Well, our
I
muscle,
can be a
that's what's
guinea
called
pig to
muscle.
show. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
show people how to do it. So if you're watching this, do it with me. She's gonna muscle
Okay.
test me.
Okay. So if you you may have seen, now I use my fingers just because it's
Yeah.
easier. So when my fingers stick together, that's my yes. When they come apart
Yeah.
easily, that's my no. People have maybe don't realize it's muscle testing when they've seen somebody with a strong arm. A strong arm. More people have seen this. So
Yeah,
when you
you have
see,
your arm like that, and then people are pushing, or
yes,
it goes like that,
exactly.
right?
So if
But
what
then you
you
have to
are,
have someone in front of you to do that,
well, you can do
right?
it yourself, but
Mm.
if you are saying your name, okay,
Okay.
so put your arm out or do that
Your
way.
finger,
So
yeah.
say your name, Denise.
My name is Denise, and then I'm
Okay,
pulling.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's true. That's why it's called muscle testing, because our
Okay.
muscles are true to who we are.
So which
So
one should
say a
open?
different name. Say a name that's
I'm
not
pushing
yours.
both ways. So should I put this way or that way? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. So my name is Monica.
See? So that's not true. It's not true to who you are. So again, our muscles, muscle testing is actually applied kinesiology. It's a
Mm,
science. So our muscles, as I said, are very true to who we are. That's why it's
mhm.
called muscle testing,
Yeah.
because our muscles are not going to lie. And then the third piece, how this works, to actually,
I'm not
when we find
Monica.
the trapped emotion and then we release
I'm
it.
Denise.
So again, remember, I'm my client's proxy, so I'm doing the work.
Yeah.
So we take a magnet, this little magnet bracelet, and run it over the governing meridian. Now, our governing meridians, we have meridians all through our body. These are all our energy flows. So it kind of goes from under the nose down across what we call the crown chakra, and then down the back. So that's our governing meridian. So in order to release the trapped emotion, we run the magnet over the governing meridian. I'm doing it because I'm my client. And what happens is the magnet on this little magnet, you use any magnet, it doesn't matter, connects with the electromagnetic field or our aura, which is
Okay.
also connected to universal energy.
Okay.
And the magnetic quality of the magnet and the electromagnetic field is stronger than the trapped emotion. So that's why it releases the trapped emotion.
Okay. Cool. But do you have the client do the muscle testing themselves, or
Nope.
you're the proxy
No,
for them?
I'm the proxy, so I do the muscle testing. Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
That's interesting. You know, one way that I experienced what I was reading the book, and he gives different way of doing muscle testing, right? And one way that that for me, I found that I'm always so surprised when I do it that it's always working, is I stand up and I make sure I have something in front and behind me. And then I ask, okay, I want to say yes, and then I say no, and then I figure out, I calibrate myself to know, okay, is yes forward or is yes backward, right? Often yes is forward, and then I say my name is Denise, and then I'll move forward, and I don't want to move forward, but I fall forward, like my body just project forward, like not violently.
Yep.
For people that are listening, I keep myself safe, but it's almost like when you stand flat and then your body kind of wiggle. But when I say my name is Monica, and then I will go, whoa, and then I have to step back. And if I say my name is Denise, then I move forward. And for me, I love that modality because I found that, for me, I found that this one is not as it's accurate, but I don't like it as much. But when I stand up and I move forward and backward, I love that one. I found that it works like it. And where can people apply that in their life? Let's say they want to test themselves. Like, can you ask, okay, if you have a cup with a liquid in it, and you hold that cup in your hand, and then you don't necessarily know what that is, and then you say, is that liquid good for me? I see, it's
Perfect.
water, it's good for me. So
I've actually seen people in the grocery store standing
no,
in front of food on the shelves asking, is this a good thing for me? And especially if you're taking any supplements or vitamins, it's always really good to check to see that these are congruent to what you should be taking.
That's very interesting.
So you can do it by the strong arm. You can do it by what's called the sway test, what you were just explaining. That's called the sway test. You can learn how to muscle test with your fingers. There's different ways. This is mine. It's called the ring, I think. There's another one that my colleague uses. He calls it the bridge. So when the bridge is open, that's his, I think that's his no. And when it stays tight, that's his yes. So there's different ways you can teach yourself. You just have to practice. Yeah.
You kind of gave me an idea. Like, I can see myself now in front of at the grocery store, in front of food of aisle, and me swaying back and forth. People saying, what the hell she's doing? She's a bit cuckoo there. But that makes a lot of sense. Like, as much as I just said that, I never really apply it, right? But I should really, because I know it works. But it's interesting. I challenge you, people that are listening, to test it out and to see for yourself. Let's say, like they say spinach is good for you and you don't like it, but say, is spinach good for me? And then if you sway back, if it's negative, then don't eat spinach. But if you sway forward, give it a try, right? It might be good for you. You might need that. Or I guess it could be also with type of food, or I go divert the subject. Sorry for that. But I'm excited about that type of testing, right?
Well, and you can use it for anything. I mean, I've used a pendulum for years,
to make
and now it's
decision
just
also
easier for me to use my fingers. And you can ask. Now, you need to get a firm yes and a firm no for you.
To test.
Everybody's a bit different. So when you can ask it anything, you can, because you're asking universal energy. You're actually asking source. You're asking and you'll only get the answers that are best for you. Not so you can. Should I drive down this road today? Should I go this way today? I live here on Vancouver Island. We got lots of snow last night, and my husband and I were driving back from Nanaimo, and we usually take sort of the highway a little bit farther along because it's easier to get to our home. And I just said, I don't want to take that highway. I want to go through town. So he doesn't bother arguing with me anymore. He just knows that energetically I'm feeling this is safer.
And when you were saying that you can go back, I just want people to understand, because it's so fascinating, and often people get information, but not all of it. And I found that then it leaves them like hungry to know more. But at the same time, like so I'm going to ask my question. When you said for the gentleman that had the problem with the neck, and then you said we went back in time and asked when that happened. So just so people know, I think what you did is you asked, did that happen before the age of 10? And then the body says yes or no. Did it happen between the age of 10 and 20? And then you go back and find the exact number that when it happened, right?
Yeah. What I do is, depending on the age of the person, I start. So let's say the person's 42.
You go large to little.
Right? Yeah. So I go, okay, did this happen in your 40s? No. Did it happen in your 30s? No. Did it happen in your 20s? No. Did it happen 10 to 20? Oh, yes. Okay. So then I'll divide that. Okay. Did it happen between 10 and 15? Yes. 15 and 20? No. So then I'll go back and say, okay, 10, 11, 12. So whatever that emotion was that got stuck in their subconscious at age 12, it might be related to an event. It might be related to something they remember. You don't have to remember. And you don't have to, the one thing I love about this modality, and I'll never say anything bad about talk therapy because I've had it myself and it's worked, but you don't need to remember. You don't need to remember. It could be a trauma that your subconscious doesn't want you to remember because it was too harsh of a trauma, and you don't have to remember. We can just release the trapped emotion.
Which is
Yeah.
wonderful, because this way you don't have to go and revisit, a traumatic event, but all of a sudden you feel better, your body feels better, you felt like, wow.
Most of
My
my clients say
goodness.
they feel lighter after a session. I'll always ask them, okay, physically, how are you feeling? And you have to remember these trapped emotions are like balls of negative energy. So they're invisible, but they're still physically in your body, even though they're uh, also in your subconscious. So I often will ask them then, okay, they'll say they physically, how are you feeling? And they'll either say that lighter, or what'll happen is they'll say, I could have a nap right now. And I'm like, well, we just released 15 balls of negative energy out of your subconscious. So yes, if you feel like having a nap, I think you probably should.
Wow, that's very exciting. And so what are my daily practice to keep myself balanced and in a position, in a positive frame of mind? So how can people like think about that on a daily basis and to help themselves to stay positive? Because I'm all about thinking positively.
Yes, I am as well. So there's a grounding exercise that I do every morning when I get up, and it's just breathing. I just stand on my yoga mat, and I'm standing just like you said earlier, where where you're in that stance, and I breathe. I do some deep breathing.
Yeah.
I do some yoga moves, different positions, and then I envision that I am surrounded with white light. So white light protects us.
Okay.
And then it's sort of like you're in an egg. And then the next layer is opalescent light, and opalescent light will deflect negativity. So you won't have negative people coming around you. I've been doing this practice now every morning for over 20 years. And I don't find negative people. I don't know. There must be some kind of vibration that they just say, "Oh, I'm not going to bother with her."
It's like they're coming towards you and say, I think I need to go
No, going
that
the other
person.
direction. So I think it's important for us to
It's
know
almost
that.
like a shield,
Yeah,
right?
it is. It's a protection, so that because as we're going out into the world, there's all sorts of things that are going on. So it's just a protection that I've done, as I said, for over 20 years. And it's a balance. It also grounds me. So I feel ready for the day. And I always teach my clients that. It's something that I teach them to do. And it's a beautiful practice because that's how you start your day.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot, because too often we wake up and we don't even take consciousness that, hey, I woke up. How many people don't wake up in the morning?
Well,
Like,
and
I
how
woke
many
up.
people wake up in the morning and go directly to their phone or directly to
Exactly.
their
Like, it's
laptop?
like taking a step back and say, okay, I'm feeling myself, whether you stay in bed to do that or but just become conscious of when you wake up. I'm alive. I'm grateful for being alive. I'm grateful if you have a loving spouse. I'm grateful for the spouse that is with me. If you have children, I'm grateful. Like, be grateful in the morning, and then visualizing those light. I'm surrounding myself with good energy, positive white energy, because regardless of your belief or whether you believe in God, the universe, or whatever else, what I found is we are energy, right? What make that
Totally.
cup
Yeah,
hard? It's a
completely.
different vibration that what makes my hair soft. It's all energy. So
And
what
that's also something that we're not taught. We're taught that
no,
we are a body.
yeah.
We're taught that this is the physicality, which is what's the most important. But
Mm-hmm.
we're all vibration. We're all
Yeah.
energy. And once I certainly, that was like a big aha for me when I finally learned that, because it was something I sort of almost intuitively knew as a young child growing up,
Mhm.
but it wasn't something that was talked about in my family.
Yeah.
And so when I was finally studying, when I went to study with the woman that I studied under for 8 years, like the people that were in her workshop, we were like, it was like, oh, I think I found my people. Like, these are
Yeah,
my people.
for
Everybody
sure.
believes that, and it's so true. And so many other things fall into place once you realize you're not just a physical body.
Mm-hmm. And it's not, for those that think like it's woo woo stuff. It's not. I mean, it's just the way it is. We are energy. If you go study chemistry and biology and all that, you'll realize that the molecule that are moving in your body, well, they're stand there by energy. So it's not woo woo. It's the full reality of life. But we've been suppressed of knowing that knowledge as I mean, it's not so much we've been suppressed, but they don't talk about it. It's not something
No,
they should teach that in school. I think that would change
I
the
agree,
whole world if
definitely.
we were to learn
So
about that.
just to give your audience some people to check out. So these are great authors. I love these authors. So Greg Braden was a geologist for many, many years, and also has studied ancient civilizations. So Greg, Gregg, Braden, Braden, and he is a scientist, but also now a spiritualist. He's amazing.
Is he the guy with
And
the white hair? Like is he with
grayish.
Gaia or something? Gaia? Anyway,
Gaia?
that's okay.
Yeah, he's on Gaia. He is on
Yeah.
Gaia.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. So
so
we'll share
he
that
studied.
information in the comment later on.
Okay, so he's also studied ancient civilizations who have never been ill, and they lived
Mm.
well into their hundreds. So our belief system about as we get age, we should get old or we should be ill, totally nonsense. So another fabulous doctor is Dr. Bruce Lipton, and
Mm-hmm.
he
Bruce
wrote
is
the
also
book
fascinating.
Biology of Belief. So
Mm-hmm.
he's totally says genetics has got nothing to do with whether you're going to get an illness or not. It's whether you believe that you're going to get an illness.
Yeah.
So
I was looking for the
his
book.
book Biology of Belief is
Yeah,
fantastic.
it is.
And he's amazing. The other one I would recommend is Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And Dr. Joe Dispenza actually was in a very severe accident. He was doing a triathlon, and he was on his bike, and he was hit by a truck. Now, he was already a doctor. And so yes, the placebo effect.
That's
Yes.
his first book, I think.
So he was, of course, rushed to his hospital, had broken many, many bones.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor said he probably would never walk again. So this is your belief system.
Mm-hmm.
He took himself home, he laid on his sofa, and he meditated. And he totally, completely healed himself.
Mm-hmm. So I want to correct you so it doesn't sound so woo woo. He didn't actually took himself home because he couldn't walk, so he
No,
got
he couldn't
carried
walk.
into a house of a friend, and he laid on an orthopedic kind of bed where he would like face up, face down, whatever. And then he decided that he was going to heal himself, and just so people say, well, if he could walk to himself home.
Yeah. Thank you for correcting that little piece. He
Yes,
wasn't actually
but
walking
I know
himself
his
home.
story is amazing. I mean, I think You Are the Placebo is the first book. If you want the whole story, there it's in there, and is absolutely what he accomplished is amazing. And and there's so many people now out there, and you name only three, but there's so much more of people that are working with the body energy and
Mhm.
with how to heal ourselves, how we can find ways to either reprogram our brain in a way that, even like for me, what I work, and that's why we're very similar in some ways. I use different modality and all that, but it's the same idea, is to, if you experience something in the past and you're not happy with the outcome, why don't you just change it?
Yes,
I
exactly.
mean, it's the past. You can't change the past, but you can change how you see that event in the future. Because when
That's right.
people are like, it's been said that I think the whole number of cells in our body are brand new after 7 years, I think, right? We have brand new cells, like it reproduce
Yeah,
and reproduce,
they
regenerated, right?
exactly.
And so if all our cells have regenerated, how is it that we're still sick and we still have pain and we still have this and that? That's because we've decided to carry forward these ailments and these disease and these pain with us because we own them, right? My hip problem, my cancer, my shortage of breath,
And
my
I often find too, people become their personality is their ailment, which I think is very sad because they could be, quite different. But when they have taken on that illness, especially if it's an illness that they've had for a long period of time, that sort of regulates their life.
Yeah,
and we haven't been educated that that doesn't have to happen.
Yeah,
we're not educated that we can heal ourselves, that we could find other modalities to heal ourselves. And that's what I'm excited about, creating this virtual global healing institute.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yes, it'll be having practitioners, all different holistic practitioners. And then the other part will be education. So we'll be educating people on how you can be well and stay well by doing something like a holistic practice. You don't need to, if you have something that you're upset about, or something, part of your body is not working the way you'd like it to work physically, you don't just have to go to the doctor and have the doctor give you a pill of some kind. Unfortunately, we're also not educated as to the side effects of a lot of pills. So, and not that I'm against allopathic medicine. If I'm in a car accident, I want that ambulance to be there and take me to the hospital.
Exactly. There's some needs for some drugs, but sometimes we kind of abuse it. Yeah.
Well, we're not, it's like, and I truly believe that in the last 20 months we've been in this pandemic, we have done a paradigm shift. People are now being more responsible for their health. They're wearing masks. They're being physically distant. They're not going out if they don't feel well. Nobody wants to go near a hospital these days. Whereas, a lot of people would just show up at emergency because, it was easier than try to get a doctor's appointment. And so I think people are, whether they consciously know it or not, they are taking responsibility for their health. And that is just perfect for the Healing Institute, because that's what I want people to know, is that there are these other modalities that are out there.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's going to be calling the Healing Institute Incorporated, an international wellness corporation. I think that's super exciting. I look forward to hear more about that. And tell me, finally, is there anything before we end this call? It's already been almost 40 minutes. I can't believe
I know. Wow, that time went fast.
And is there anything you would like to, do you have a gift for people that are watching, or a promotion, or something, how people can reach you? We'll put in the chat. All the information will be in the chat after the call. But just, is there anything you'd like to offer the people that are listening to this video?
Well, I do have a December holiday. I'll call it holiday just to cover all of the holidays. Gratitude, 2 body code sessions for the price of 1. So, when we have these trapped emotions, they're kind of like layers of an onion. And 1 session is good, but usually more than 1 session is better. So I have a package of 3 sessions, and I have a package of 5 sessions that people can sign up for. But for December, and for the gratitude, because I am so grateful for being able to have this modality that I can use to help people stay well and be well. So yes, 2 body code sessions for the price of 1. We can put all of that information in the chat, and my email address, so you can get in touch with me. And as we said earlier, for those of you who might have missed it, I can do these sessions over Zoom or over the phone, because you as a client give me permission to connect with your subconscious. So I'm the connector.
Yeah, it's almost like a telephone. It's almost like playing telephone with a string and two can, and it's the
Yeah, like we
conduit
did as a
of
kid.
information. Yeah, exactly, exactly. You get the information at the end. You get it.
It's still there. Yes,
Well, that's
absolutely.
fabulous. Wow, it's amazing. It was a wonderful information that you share with us, and I feel that it's something that people should be more aware of about how this work and how we can better ourselves and how we can, if you have pain and if you have like a sore shoulder or sometime, what I realize is that sometimes we can wake up, it's like, oh, where does that pain come from? Like all of a sudden, for no reason, you start to have pain somewhere. My knee started to hurt. What's happening with that? And sometimes it's like maybe something, an event happened and you don't realize it, but then poof, you store that in your knee for some reason,
Right.
right?
That's
You got
exactly what
upset and
happened.
then it
Mhm.
went in the knee. And but if you untrap that ball of energy and if you work with Permelia to help you untrap that energy, then all of a sudden, poof, it's gone. You know, it's like
I'm
just
just
it
so
arrived.
passionate about creating a proactive wellness society. I think
Mm,
we've been a reactive illness society for way too long.
yeah,
So that's my purpose in creating the Healing Institute. And it's
wonderful.
going to be virtual. It'll be global. We'll be in 8 countries, minimum of 8 countries. In another by 2024 is my goal. By 2024, we'll be in 8 countries,
Wonderful.
and so we want to have those, and we have practitioners already from almost all those countries who want to sign up to be part of the Healing Institute. So
Wow,
let's
that's
create
fabulous.
a proactive wellness society.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And
Thanks so
I
much,
believe
Denise.
you're very welcome. And I believe in being proactive. And that's a little bit why I do what I do too, because I help people eliminate stress and work into releasing the negative emotion and the stress they have in their body, because stress kills the immune system, stress causes illness, disease, blockage, and all that. But if you don't have stress initially, and if when dramatic event happen, you just like, whoop, it's gone. Yeah, that's fine. It's all good.
It's all
So,
good.
so that's why I work with people. It's prevention. Prevention is key nowadays. And like you were saying, it's better to be proactive than reactive. So let's not get sick and be preactive. Can I blooper that? Can we preempt the event that comes to us so that we're not going to be reactive?
That's true. Yes.
So thank you so much. Just stay there. I'll be right back with you. So thank you so much for listening. It was an amazing show with Permelia. And I invite you in a few minutes to check in the chat, and the information will be there. And if you're watching the replay, well, it's already there. And next week, I'm visiting with Diane Lidstone. And come on in, because she's a very amazing woman, and you'll be able to discover. I'm just looking up, I'm so unprepared, but that's okay. It's all good. And what she does. Why would somebody call me now? Go on live. We're on live now. It's funny, my phone, right? Anyway, so I'll let you go. So I won't tell you what she's doing, but she's amazing. So because everybody I invite are amazing, but then Ben, stay tuned also, because in 2 weeks I have a very, very, very special guest. The 20th of December. Who would you think be coming a few days before Christmas? I'll keep you on the edge of your seat and to find out who that is. But come on the 20th of December, because I have a very special guest. So until next time, be kind to one another, and it's all good. Remember, any situation. Goodbye.